pleasure too.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pleasure Explosion, the original Explosion pod. I'm your host today, the amazing Ashley Hobley. Joining me, the joyous Jack Cruz.
Plat plat.
The notorious Nicholas Pryor.
It's your boy.
And the different Dylan Blight.
The different Dylan Blight compared to what of a Dylan Blight?
I like it.
The non-Tasmanian one.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Oh,
I like
there's
that.
a non-Tassie one of me. Is that the version of me everyone fucking likes? Is it the one that is
That was the
Tasmania?
The
That was the one
non-Tasmanian is the
adjective
preferred
that popped
version.
out to me, so...
Oh my god! Oh, he's all met my cousin who was born in Melbourne. Like him a lot better. All right, no problem. You got the wrong one on this podcast, I guess.
Just different to other people, Dylan, which is
Oh,
fine.
Oh, I'm just
Unique.
different to other
Being-
people. It's
Fine
fine.
to be different. Don't feel bad.
Thanks, guys. Thank you so much. I guess.
No problem.
Talking about different.
So this week, I wanted to talk about... It's hard to put into words. So the other week, I was watching the Philip DeFranco show, which is very good. You should check it out. And he was talking about Alex Jones, some news guy in
crazy
America.
motherfucker.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, is he
And,
like the
He yells a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's like the I've heard Joe Rogan talk about him.
Yeah.
He's like the crazy guy who's always talking about like conspiracies and stuff.
Hillary is a fucking star. That's my impression of watching
that's
Alex
pretty
Jones
spot on.
videos.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
I feel like anyone who's ever watched Alex Jones videos that was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Like,
Yeah, and well, one of the things he brought up about Alex Jones was he sort of brought light to a certain number of people who believed that the Sandy Hook massacre from a few years ago was a hoax, conspiracy. that
yep.
that they brought in a bunch of child actors to
Yep.
play dead, which was pretty distasteful in my opinion, and seems to be the thing on the internet. There's just the
So was he
internet
saying
seems
was
to
he saying that it was, or was he saying that people were saying that it was?
a bit of column A and a bit of column B.
He sounds like a dickhead.
Yeah. And, so apparently this is a thing that people believe and perpetuate and have been harassing the surviving family of victims, which... I can't believe this is a thing in 2017. And
Yeah.
there's a bunch of other things that I think are crazy that we've got still going around in 2017. That the internet seems to be able to bring those crazy people together. So I sort of wanted to talk about those things you can't believe are a thing here in 2017. So the other big one I wanted to bring up straight off the bat, flat earthers.
Yep. They watched Pirates of the Caribbean and was like,
Hey, that makes sense.
at World's End, if I head north far enough, I'll just fucking fall off the other side, won't I?
Oh god.
Obvious.
What's
Yeah.
I've never bothered to look into it because I don't want to make myself dumber. But what is the logic behind people thinking the Earth is flat? Are they the same people that
Well,
think the
how
dinosaurs
can we go around the globe, Jack? If you go far enough, you would obviously, if you started going around a globe, you would just fall off into space.
Yeah.
Oh, duh.
If it was
Haven't
the
you
world
heard of
was a
gravity?
globe,
It doesn't exist.
all the water would fall out.
Yes, all the water would fall out of Earth. Duh. So the world is obviously flat. Because we can't go under the globe, because we would all fall off.
That's not
It all
really their
makes
logic,
sense.
is it?
That is literally what they believe, basically, yeah.
So they're idiots.
Yeah, they're
Apparently,
idiots, yeah.
The North Pole is the middle of the Earth,
Fuck.
and we're surrounded by a massive wall of ice, which is Antarctica.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So it's kind of like
I find-
Westeros.
Yeah.
There's a
much.
wall at the end.
Yeah. I'm a fucking dickhead. Didn't go to school. No education. No education.
There's only
no
like a
education.
few thousand years of proof against this, but
I find anything like that flat earthers, like I find anything where there's like scientific proof, like undeniable. And
we've
people are
sent
like,
people
nah,
into space.
nah.
We've seen it with their own eyes.
Look. We couldn't have sent people into space because I'm pretty sure you can't launch a rocket off the bottom of a globe and have it go up. It would go down. Ugh.
What the fuck? What the actual fuck?
Nick,
Yeah,
you're being
so-
awfully quiet about this. Are you a flat earther? And I'm bringing up a sore spot.
I refuse to comment.
You are not a fucking flat earther. Nick.
Nick, please.
Please what?
Please denounce this theory.
It is batshit crazy.
Thank okay, good. Thank God. Fuck. I thought he was
So
going to
some
pull some...
people say.
I don't know which way he's going with that.
Oh, dear
I want to
God.
know Nick's one.
Nick, do you have something?
Because I feel like if anyone has the biggest...
I
I'm
do.
not- Yeah.
It's creationism.
Oh, yes.
Hmm.
Yes. This is also something I think is batshit crazy.
Yeah.
Explain what it is, Nick.
Basically, the most broad sense of the term is people believe Earth and everything was created the way it is said in the Bible. The whole 7 days, Adam and Eve, all that kind
Divine
of stuff.
intervention and all that.
Earth's only 6,000 years old or whatever.
Mm.
I mean, you're free to believe whatever you believe, but there is evidence and proof of the Big Bang and all of that leading up to now of how everything was created. I just can't wrap my mind
All
around
propaganda,
how...
Nick. It's all propaganda. It's fake
I know.
news.
I can't wrap my mind around how anyone can just flat out deny it.
Yeah.
Well, if
It's-
God is all powerful, why wouldn't he make it so it looks like there's been thousands of years of creation behind it?
Well,
If you're a
He's
good
testing.
storyteller, you have
the thing
backstory.
I believe personally is intelligent design, where he just set it going, and in a way,
I feel like most people who you can be like, oh, so you can just take it back a step and be like, oh, God created the spark that created the Big Bang or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
And that's like,
And then he stood back
that's
and went, all right.
yeah, that's like a smarter way where you can admit to like what is basically
well,
fact.
the Catholic
without-
Church doesn't teach creationism as it's they view it as a metaphor.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing,
So-
I agree with that obviously evolution
Which is kind. I think it's kind of unfair for me to bring it up too, because I know Jono believes that kind of thing. And
Oh
he's
yeah,
not gonna
Jono's not here
defend
this week,
Yeah.
in case you didn't
Yeah,
notice.
yeah. John is obviously a heavily religious person, and I don't think any of this is designed to like bash anyone's
No,
beliefs
no,
or
not
anything
at
like
all.
that, unless you're a flat earther. But no, the funny and with stuff like that, it's sort
I
of
believe
a
it's
lot
a
of it is
square,
based on.
That would be interesting.
A lot of it's all based on. Anyway, my funny thing when people bring up the creationism thing, I think back to Australian comedian Will Anderson. He did a show years and years ago, and he brings up creationism, and it's quite funny when you sort of like when you play it out, and he just sort of starts talking about like the process of God had that day when he started making the person. He starts talking about hair, and he's like, oh, give this luscious hair on top of your head, and then he's like, thanks God, but why all of a sudden in my mid-30s does it just start to fuck off? It's like I was using that, it was keeping my head warm.
Mid-30s, that's late in life, isn't it?
And then he's like, all right, let's work our way down to your teeth. He's like, oh, here you go, son. He's a full set of teeth. Now, oh, thanks, God, that's great. It's like, yes, they're going to be great for eating. Now, just don't let them decay. I was like, oh, cool. Thanks, God. That seems like really good advice. Well, what makes them decay? He's like, oh, don't worry, only food and drink. As long as you keep your teeth away from food and drink, everything will be fine. And he sort of goes through like the whole body and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's quite a funny sort of thing. So yeah, it's. I sort of more lean towards. I mean, I definitely am I'm an evolutionist. Is that what they sort of classify people who believe in the Big Bang is?
How
I
shit
don't
actually
believe
happened.
people that believe what actually happened have a name.
Let's call them people. Yeah, no, I'm obviously I'm sort of I think we're just an accident. We're a happy accident. There was a couple of
You were, Jack.
Hey,
Who's actually read like all about like I wouldn't be able to speak about it properly because I haven't read it enough, but like the full like everyone understands the general idea of the Big Bang, but I feel like people who haven't read more into it don't understand how long it took. And this is the thing I don't understand, because it's like if you believe in God, and I don't believe in God, I'm an atheist, but if you believe in God, the idea of him just like putting a little spark in, and then the way the world develops, and like this little tiny thing happens, and then for like 230 million years, like nothing happens in our galaxy as all these elements form. And then all of a sudden these other little, I can't remember which elements form next. They're like, all these other two elements form. And then they hang around for like a couple 100 million years. And then they slowly develop this other thing. And then these other elements show. It's like the longest yet most miraculous and cool fucking thing ever. And if you believe in God, to be like, oh, he created this one spark that took fucking forever, like that's way cooler to me.
Yeah.
And if you can believe he did it, it's like, oh, that's cool. He like basically created like this fucking really awesome thing that happened. Cause
It's like a very complicated domino set.
yeah, it took like fucking forever, and the chance of this happening, and then this element combining with this element, and then this happening, and all these sorts of crazy things that happen is miraculous. Like it is really fucking interesting to read about, and smarter people than me could talk about it because I'd probably know more stuff. But
Probably.
it's not probably, it's just fucking fact.
It's definitely.
It's a definite, but it is really fucking interesting, and I feel like it's way cooler than the idea of someone sitting in a cloud with like a clay finger going sculpting, painting eyes on, and going, there you go. like if whatever you believe, to me the Big Bang and all that sort of stuff is way more magical and cooler than that. So
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
I
To
just-
be fair though, I don't know that they're believing like what's the cool. I don't think they picked like the coolest option.
no,
of
but
what they
why?
believe.
That's why I don't understand why people deny the.
Oh,
like,
it's all
if
based
you-
on
if-
your faith. Like, you know, it's that's the sort of thing, especially with religion and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know whether we want to go down that rabbit hole.
I'll fucking go down any road.
Only because I don't know that, like, there's no one here to sort of. And we could sit here for an hour and a half and talk about how dumb we think religion is, but it's not really fair for the other side not to have like a rebuttal to.
Why?
This-
Who? Let's do the count. Who doesn't? Ash, do you believe in God?
I believe in God, yes.
Nick, do you believe in God?
I do.
Jack, do you believe in God?
Not in the sense of.
It's a yes or no
yeah.
answer.
You believe in a higher power.
It's a
I
yes or
believe,
no
yeah, I
answer.
believe in. I don't believe. No, I don't believe in God, but I believe in something else.
So you believe there is some sort of thing.
There's something. I feel like there's
Okay,
something.
so,
I can't.
right,
I
so
don't know
you're
what it
all
is.
above me because I believe there's absolutely fucking nothing. Plus,
Yeah, we are above you.
there's two people here who just said they believe in God. So it's not like we're not talking
Okay, no, yeah.
shit on. Yeah. We're not talking.
I just more so like the. Yeah, I just think it's a.
We're not passionate like Jono is.
Yeah, it's hard to sort of like we could sit here and get quite, you know, fuck they're dumb kind of thing, and I don't think that's fair when there's not, because there's obviously there's a logic, there's a faith behind why they believe what they believe,
All right,
especially with things like religion.
Let me swing it then for something more in the direction of people who here can listen to me talk shit on them. I honestly believe entirety of religion is dumb. I believe I honestly, like, if you're like, what is something you can't believe is still a thing in 2017? I'm like, religion. To me is the most bullshit brought up thing that people, the idea that people still believe in God after this amount of time on Earth, to me is crazy. I don't know why people still do it. I mean, I have my theory I've talked about before about people needing something to cling on to the idea to help them get through life, to make themselves feel better, at death. And we talked about that on Nick's episode about dying and all that sort of stuff. But when Ash said, like, what is something you still can't believe is a thing, my honest answer is religion. Because I thought, honestly, by now, as a human species, we would have, like, grown to a point, and my big belief in part of it is God being needed and religion being needed to help deal with life and death. Like, we would have developed to a stage now where human race was more accepting of, like, what life is, that we just kind of come and go, and that's just kind of a thing. But a lot of people still need religion and God in their life for some reason. I mean, each power to you, but honestly, it is something that is crazy to me. I honestly thought, and I still think maybe one day religion will die off in some sort of fashion. I just feel like at some stage human race will have to get past it. And
Were
if
you
it doesn't,
brought up
it's
in?
crazy.
Were you brought up in a religious family from memory?
My my extended family. So my mum's side of like her mum and dad, like my pop, religious, wears cross all the time. Mother's side, sure, but like my mum, dad, no.
No, well, that plays a major part in it, I would think.
Yeah.
If
Also,
you're not
you know
brought
you're in
into
the
it-
minority, Dylan.
I believed in God when I was up until I was like 12, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was there some triggering event or some priest touch you?
Yeah, I discovered what the real world. I discovered.
Well, hold on. So,
Sorry.
just for Nick, as someone who believes in God, what's your sort of response to like that, to what Dylan's saying about religion and God? And
I think it's just something that's been around for ages. I think there's a lot of it's just built in from youth. I think a lot of people are brought up believing that, so they just continue to believe that.
so, what do you believe?
I do question whether there is a God or not, but I don't know for certain. So I do think that there's just too much random stuff that happens correctly that I think there isn't someone at play, like all the way our human bodies are like developed. I don't think it's pure accidents that we evolved that way. So,
Fuck is what's that? Why do we have tailbones? Get rid of them. Why do we have these?
if we were
random
perfect,
lungs
we wouldn't
don't
have
need?
tailbones. I guess
Well, we wouldn't have appendixes either.
Yeah. Whoever designed us fucked up is all I'm saying.
Nick, what about you, as someone who believes in God?
I always have a hard time quantifying it in words. Like,
Yeah.
I, through my life, have questioned, and I still identify myself as a Catholic, but I don't practice it. Like, I have my own
You don't go to
views on
church
it.
like me. I only go
No.
like Christmas and Easter.
Oh, yeah, I go Christmas and Easter.
And that's really only because family sort of makes me.
Exactly, yeah. But
Lucky they're not listening.
I don't know, I kind of believe in a God, a higher power, if you want to call it, as not as a personal God that's so involved with everybody's everyday lives,
No.
as more of a
Overseer?
sit back and watch everything
He's
unfold
like a
kind of
father.
thing. Yeah,
At a certain point, you have to make your own decisions.
All right. Well,
exactly.
more like, do you think like my whole point about, because obviously years and years ago, back in like whatever time you want to, like BC kind of. Drillers, like everyone's running around in fucking dresses, whatever. Roman times,
Jesus Christ, Dylan.
whatever. You know, like
Yeah.
religion was a lot bigger in the world, obviously.
You really
Yeah,
think
it
it's
is.
not as big
It's
anymore?
you're in the minority, Dylan. Like,
No,
it's
like
not-
I know it's huge, but I feel like it was like basically everyone believed then. Now, do you?
That's probably because the people who didn't believe got killed.
All right. Well,
You're
Send
just
the
lucky you're living in a good time.
police.
but the majority of the people in the on the planet, like, you know, follow and practice a religion and believe something. So to say, like, you're still in the minority as far
To
as
believe there's
oh, I
nothing.
know. It's like 80% of the world or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess if that helps you sort of quantify it a little bit.
I have no issue with religion. I have issue with people killing, doing bad things in the name of religion, where
Yeah.
the religions themselves preach nothing but good.
Yeah, and that's I think that's the overarching issue when it comes to religion is that
I think
there's a lot of
people are free to believe whatever they want, just as long as you don't you don't force what you believe on somebody else.
yeah. No, I agree. 100%
I think
with
that's
that.
what turns people away from religion, seeing
Yeah.
stuff
For
like
sure.
that.
Yeah, absolutely. Just gonna move away from the religious talk for a second.
Yeah.
I wrote down a couple of things that
Yeah.
I still can't believe are a thing in 2017. The first thing that popped into my mind, and it's sort of normally the thing I go to when this sort of topic comes up, is the Kardashians. And like, for the fucking life of me, I can't understand how those people are as revered and people find interest in them. It's just
Is it
mind-boggling.
the Kardashians or is it like reality TV, like that whole?
No,
thing
it's
as a
specifically
general-
those fucking
Just those
turnips.
people in particular.
Those fucking turnips. But no, I don't want to talk about them too much because they get enough airtime as it is.
I'm waiting for you to say Kanye West.
That's
Oh,
going to be our
fuck him.
thumbnail, by the way.
Fuck him. But anyway, no, there's a couple of things I did write down that I sort of that I don't sort of, I guess, in the same vein, not how I don't know that they're a thing, but someone brought up like conspiracy theories when this topic was getting thrown around, and how people sort of like, you know, like people sort of
9/11.
Yeah, so 9/11 is the first one that pops that comes up for me, and I don't, not so much like how, like, I don't understand how people can't question what happened on that day.
Yeah.
And just the inconsistencies in the stories and the evidence there. Like, there's like full on evidence there to be like, there's something according, like the official story is not what actually happened. Like, there is a lot of dodgy shit that happened that day. I feel like we could do an entire topic on 9/11, but that to me is just one like that always comes up, that I'm like, people are like, oh, you know, those bloody terrorists, you know, they flew planes into those buildings, and I'm like, you just have to look at it from like a...
Yeah, the biggest thing is the planes that allegedly flew into the Pentagon.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, people were like, oh, yeah, remember that plane that hit the... I'm like, look at a photo of that picture of the hole in the wall, and you show me where there's a fucking plane. Like, show me where there's a plane. The fact that they didn't pick up any debris from a plane whatsoever. No skid marks along the ground, nothing. It just straight into the building, vaporized. No wings, nothing. The wings must have just folded in on the plane and just disappeared. Like, just so many... There's just so much stuff like that, inconsistent reports and things that were said, and, you know, evidence out there that I'm like... and it's one of those things, the majority of the public just believe what they're told, right?
Yeah.
News comes on at 6 o'clock, this is what happened, I guess that's what happened. When if you actually...
sheep, man, fight the power.
Yeah, and most of the time, like, obviously what the news tells us is what is the news, and they can only report on the information that they have, but like, if all you have to do is look in a little bit deeper to something like that, and you can sort of go, okay, something definitely happened here, and I don't know who was responsible and who did what, so I can't sort of obviously speak to any of that, but I know that what was actually said in the I think it was the Warren report, which was the big, you know, certified details of what happened on that day, is as far from what actually happened as could be possible.
I learned a long time ago never to believe what you hear on the news as fact, because the news' number one priority is to sell news and report news second.
Especially nowadays, it feels like in
the
Trump era.
You got to dig deeper and do your own research. Like, even other news, like, if there is a report of, say, like, an attack in Israel, you need to read your news, read Al Jazeera news, and try and get a clearer picture of what actually happened.
Yeah. Even when things like the Paris attacks last year and things like that, like, I remember watching that live, and, you know, a report would come in and they're like, okay, cool, yep, no, they've got one of the guys in custody, yep, they've taken him out, and then like half an hour later the story had changed completely, and they're like, so all of the guy blew himself up, and I'm like, half an hour ago you said that he was in custody and they'd taken him away, and now you're telling me that he's dead? Like, there's a lot of dodgy stuff like that happens, and so it's sort of hard to believe, like, things like that.
Well, you know why that happens? It's because every news station wants to be first, and they'll get a source that says, like, oh, so-and-so just told me that they've got him custody. And then a really good editor, or a producer, depending on, like, what the situation is, I suppose, would be like, all right, can you check your source against this other source, against this other source, off this other source, off this other source? Cool. All of them said it's fact. Okay, we'll run it. But most of the time, because the news station wants to be first, they hear it, they go, it's probably true, we won't double check it, run with it.
Yeah.
And then half an hour later, they find out it wasn't true, and they've confused everyone, and it's really shitty practice, because not only it leads to kinds of situations where people can hear shit wrong and be like, oh, maybe my family member's dead. Oh, that killer's still out there. My family's there. They could get shot. And then you've got someone at home worried. And all sorts of really fucked up... There's all sorts of fucked up reasons why you shouldn't report stuff. And there's an ethics to, like, news reporting that I feel like has been lost, like, in our current day and age.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I
it's all who wants to get the first click, who wants to get the first view. Yeah.
There definitely was, like, an ethical practice to it, like, way long, probably, like, before I was even born. Like, it's been fucked ever since I've been alive. But, like, it's just gone for, it's just clicks. It's clicks, and it's numbers, and that's all it is. And the news, I know it's so weird, because you're like, let's watch the news. I'll read the newspaper. But both things they're just entertainment. Newspapers, just rubbish. News shows are just entertainment. They're
you
not
just have to,
reporting.
like, look at the Australian newspapers. There's one that Rupert Murdoch owns, and it is so liberal based and biased, it's not funny. Like, there is no room for unbiased reporting.
Whenever a big event happens, if it's like a terror attack or anything like that these days, I don't go to news sites. No. I go to Twitter. I go to Twitter, I click on a hashtag or whatever, and I just start reading people's tweets, watching people's videos that are there, that it's happening and stuff like that. And some of them are probably more confronting than maybe everyone wants to put up with, and maybe news websites and stuff like that can be the filter, like, so it's not as confronting and raw as some of the stuff you can find is. But I would much prefer just to have that. And that, well, I mean, it's like, it's not even like straight up facts, but it's just like, this is just unfiltered video. Someone's just recorded. I can take from that what I want. I can go watch someone else's video, and then I can start putting it together in my head. And I'd rather just form my own opinion on stuff like that than just read an article that was put together based on crap with a really clickbait headline to try and sell advertising. So
it'd be very, very hard these days for something like 9/11 to go down again. Obviously with like security and stuff the way it is, but with camera phones and stuff like that, like it'd be very hard for something like that to go down without, well,
you guarantee if 9/11 happened these days, a bunch of those people in that building would have just been like live streaming on Twitter, Facebook live streaming. There would have been really fucked up videos of people probably falling to their death while they was live streaming, and stuff like that would happen, I reckon. But I mean, it would have definitely give you a completely different and probably better, really, view on the situation. Like if it was going to go down. I don't know if
better is the right word. Maybe clearer.
Yeah. I just mean better. I just mean like better for gathering facts. Yeah.
The other event that I think would have played out differently if it happened today is the JFK assassination, which
most definitely
nobody knows the truth about that.
Everyone, exactly right. The millions of people on the street all taking Instagram photos of the car driving past, and then they would have just been able to like zoom in and be like, was there a guy in the bush? Was there a guy in the house? What's going on? Like,
it's a book depository
is a UFO? Like, what's going on?
The JFK assassination is the 9/11 of that time in history, and there was a lot of same sort of thing. The initial report that came out was inconsistent. The facts were sort of things were just not true, basically. And
this guy did it. Here he is. We're going to walk in for our police station. He just got shot. Oh, no. There's definitely nothing weird going on. Yeah. Like, I know that guy just got shot right outside our steps, but everything's fine. It was definitely him. Yeah. Like,
the US government actually, like, because there was a lot of court cases and stuff around it, the US government actually came out and ruled that there was a conspiracy with the JFK assassination. Is that what happened in the report? There was something dodgy that happened. They've actually acknowledged that, and there's never. I don't obviously no one knows. It's so long ago now, and probably never will. But it's,
aren't they meant to release some report at some point? Like
things become
freedom of information.
Yeah, exactly right. So things will eventually be available, but a lot of those records would have been destroyed as well. So
they got lost.
Yeah. Exactly.
I find the JFK conspiracy never-endingly interesting. I've watched handfuls of documentaries on it, and it's like even though you're getting the same information over and over and over, it's still just crazy.
There's so much shit that happened at that. So much shit. Magic bullets and fucking crazy stuff.
Bending bullets. Yeah. They got fucking they got what's his face from Wanted in there. He just time traveled.
Yeah, it was Magneto.
Angelina Jolie standing in the corner bending bullets. Yeah, that's cool.
And then by the way, we found a shell casing on his stretcher. How convenient! Jesus fucking Christ. Odd place. A lot of dodgy shit. Another thing, sort of that how people can think the moon landing was faked. That one to me has always been a bizarre one.
How can we go to the moon if the world's flat?
I'm not 100% sold the moon landing was real.
You don't think it happened?
No.
So as someone, what's the theory behind that? Because I've always just been there's evidence that they were there kind of thing.
Just from some of the stuff I've read, they probably did, but there's a lot of stuff that doesn't add up, on the moon, the footage of the moon, the flag flying when there's no atmosphere to create wind on fucking the moon. And
there is some gravity though. There's
gravity, but there's no atmosphere.
You just pushed it in that direction, and it's just flapping.
I don't know. I read a lot of conspiracy theories, and they write it in a way.
Why am I
He's
not
hiding a
surprised?
tinfoil
convincing.
hat under that beanie there.
Yeah.
Like the,
No, go on, sorry.
Yeah, they can write conspiracy theories that are so convincing that you just get sucked into it.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. I'm the same. I used to read like conspiracy theories on everything and just be like, you get sucked into like the dark, deep sort of details and things. Yeah, like heaps of stuff. Like Roswell has always been one that like fascinated me, like UFOs and that kind of thing. And again, it's one of those things like nowadays with camera phones and stuff like that. Like that's why we don't see UFO sightings anymore. But there's some dodgy shit that happened back
I
in the
argue
day.
you see more.
Sorry.
There's videos going up all the time of alleged UFO
Is there?
sightings.
I never see anything.
Everyone's got access to special effects on the computer now, so it's
Yeah.
probably actually easier.
Yeah.
I think there's too many satellites in the sky for a spaceship to get through.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why there's no aliens.
It's funny, the moon landing thing, like, I believe we went to the moon and everything like that, but I did spend a time where I put myself into the mindset for some reason. I spent, like, a good day at one point just being like, I wonder if I can, like, if I was trying to believe it didn't happen, like, is it possible? And I came to the conclusion, my conclusion was that, like, I could believe in it. Like, I believe we went to the moon, but I could also believe in a world maybe where that footage was faked, but we still went to the moon.
Yeah.
Like, maybe not that day,
Yeah.
but it's like you can't doubt
They went to
space
the moon
travel
and they
now.
lost the footage. Is that?
There was political
Something crazy
motivation
like
to
that.
fake
Yeah.
it too.
Yeah,
That's
To be
sort
like,
of
oh, we're the first. We beat the Soviets. Look
yeah,
what we
exactly.
did.
That's I guess the more believable story to me is that yes, we actually went, but it might not have been that early, and that might have
Yeah.
taken a little bit longer to get. We just need to put this out there, so at least we save face, we win, because obviously the
Yeah.
Soviets were the first person to put a man in space,
Yeah.
and the Yanks didn't want to get beaten
Yeah.
to the moon again.
So, although I don't believe that, I'm open to being like
Yeah.
that in a world that could be a possibility or something, I suppose. Like, I feel like that's not going too far off the deep end of conspiracy theories.
The hardest thing
Sorry,
is
sister.
that we
Someone
can
would
get told
talk.
that, but we never know for certain.
Oh, we'll
Yeah.
never know. You'll probably never know. That's why it's kind of like you have to believe or you
Yeah.
don't believe. It's like, whatever. But I feel like you either fall off the deep end of being like, when you're like, don't believe we've ever space traveled or something
Yeah.
like that. Like, we never went to the moon. We've never gone anywhere. Like, every single spacecraft, like, no one's ever been anywhere. Like, that's kind of when you're a full crazy person, I think.
yeah.
Like, they're faking everything. All right, my second thing was people who don't believe in global warming.
Yeah.
As
There's no climate change.
that there's no climate change at all. Yeah, like climate change, like Donald Trump's. People like that are, yeah, that's another thing. I'm just like, I don't even understand this. And this boils back down to the same thing as like, it's like, there's proof. Like, how do you stare at something like that? Can you stare at so many facts, reasons, and stuff being shown to you, and then still go, nah, it's fine. We'll be around for another.
But it snowed, Dylan. That guy, that senator went outside and got a snowball. Global warming is a hoax.
It's yeah. I just don't understand. It's like I just feel like every person who doubts it, or doesn't even doubt, like just straight up denies it, is going to be standing there one day when like the day of tomorrow is actually happening, and it's like, oh, fuck. Like it's like I guess I was wrong, guys. My bad. And it's really really annoying when it is people like like world leaders and stuff like that denying it. Like, it legit annoys me because I'm like, for fuck's sake, like now it like perpetuates people who doubt it to just be like, oh yeah, well, it's like the leader of a country or like a high political figure or anyone else like that. It's like, even if like if the fucking boss of McDonald's or anything like that's like anyone that's like higher up or something like that, it's just like, oh my god, like, you're not. And because I think it's like such an important thing, like I actually believe we're just fucked, to be honest. But it's still like an important thing to talk about. If there was ever a chance, if somehow, I don't know, they figure out a way to kind of to save face, that like it wouldn't. I believe if they ever were like, here's what we have to do: we have to not drive any more cars, we have to not do this, we have to not do this, blah blah blah. And a high percentage of the world who all believe that climate change is a thing would be like, cool. Like, if someone came to me, if a bunch of scientists came on the news tomorrow and were like, look, here's all the facts, we've done like 10 years research on it, blah, 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 blah. If we all stop using cars, if we all stop producing this gas, if we all stop doing this, like, I know it's going to suck and it's going to change the world forever, but this is what we have to do to save our planet. And then there's going to be a lot of us, like me, I'll be there like, all right, this is going to be really weird, never drive cars anymore. Like, what are we going to do? What a weird time to be alive. But all right, got to do it. Got to save the planet. But it would never work because it would require 100% of everyone. And it would never happen. So we're basically fucked. Which sucks. I mean, I'm not going to be here when the world ends because it's not going to end for like,
well, unless we keep going the way we do at exponential
but
rate,
you gotta, it annoys you to like leave. It's like my thing about like talking about fears and stuff and like leaving the earth without ever having done something like that means something to me. It would annoy me as well if there was ever a chance in my lifetime to like put a stop to something like this, or like, and I was there just to watch it all go to shit, and then I'm like laying on my deathbed like, yeah, well, about to die. Use old will in about 150 years too. Bye. Fuck, my generation sucked.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. And it's not like it's not like we have to make major changes. It's just a little bit here and there to help. Could make a huge difference. But people don't want to change.
Solar power and wind
anything.
power, that's the answer. But the problem is all the fucking fossil fuel companies just too much say and too much money to throw around to anyone to ever actually do anything about it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's the
Elon
issue,
Musk
isn't
is
it?
going to
It's
save
not-
us all.
We
It's
need
not
more Elon
profitable.
Musks.
Yeah, the issue is that it's not profitable. Is that solar power and not they are profitable, but not as profitable as fossil fuels and that kind of thing.
Which is the problem straight
Yeah.
away. It's like, what's more important?
No, exactly.
But then
the
it's
money's
like
the problem.
it's like the mentality of like, oh, it doesn't matter. Like, I'll let the next guy fix it. Like, I'll be dead before any big problems arise. So in my lifetime, I'll just enjoy making a whole heap of money. And then the next guy after me can take care of it. But I feel like that's what's been happening for like the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to shit. Next guy can take care of it. Next guy can take care of it. Next guy can take care of it. And now here we are. And fucked. And it's still like, we're not even in a world where, I think it'd be a lot different if it was in a world where everyone believed in, like, if everyone was like 100% all of Earth united, climate change is a real issue, and it was just a matter of trying to get the populace to commit to making the changes that are necessary. But we're not even at that stage because fucking people don't believe it's a thing.
Yeah,
because
we're a very reactive society because it will only take for there to be like a massive like natural disaster.
They never happen.
They haven't been happening more regularly.
No, I mean, like something like really bad that would like you can specifically, and that's the thing, like there's always hurricanes, there's always tsunamis, there's always earthquakes, there's always shit like this happening. They're happening more and more frequently, but there's just people just like they have that reaction. It's like, hey, storms happen all the time. Yeah, they happen all the time. It's just normal.
Tomorrow.
You need like a cataclysmic, like
Wipe
in the
out a
middle
country.
of the Nevada desert, like a fucking blizzard, sweeps through and fucking ices the place for
I
people
think
to go.
at that stage it's too late though. So.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, though. Like, we're too reactive as a society that it'll take something like that for anyone to go, well, fuck, maybe we should do something about it, and by then we're going to be fucked. It's too late. Like, that's the problem.
It kind of does something about the human race that, like,
They suck.
a high percentage of people need to be, like, led. It's like, why are so many people fucking sheep? It's like, why do you need to be told? Why do you need someone that you think is smarter than you to figure it out and tell you that you should do it? Like, you're not a fucking child.
Smart people are looking at it and saying we should be doing this.
School doesn't allow that, and when you go into the workforce, it doesn't allow that.
True. Yeah.
So
I suppose,
it's institutionalized. You can't.
Yeah.
And if you try to break out of it, you're so severely disadvantaged. It's not funny.
I do find it. That's a good point, because I do find it quite funny. Even at my work, often it's like the simplest things. Quite often, people like I'll just do them. Like I'm quite like, I suppose it's like that initiative thing. It's like I don't need to be told. It's like if there's a problem or something that I know I can fix, I don't double check with someone before I do it. But basically, everyone else I've ever worked with, for some reason, always has to go to the boss. Hey, do you want me to fix this? And the answer's always like, yes. But for some reason, everyone always needs to, like, be told to do it or, like, asked to do it. They need to be, like, led or do. It's like, why? I know. It is weird. Like,
Because
how
it's easy.
It's like, oh god.
Yeah. Nick,
So,
what about
yeah.
you? What can't you believe, Nick?
He said creationism already.
Oh yeah, you did too.
Yeah, is that your only thing you can't believe in all the world?
I'd have to think about it.
All right.
I can't believe it's Stacey that agreed to marry.
Yeah, I can't believe Stacey
I can't
agreed to
believe
marry
that
you
either.
either. It is
That's
the
true.
most baffling thing.
It's an act of God.
Especially
It's an
after
act
the
of-
other week when you told us how you first met her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that was a good story. I got
Let
one.
me throw out another one.
Go.
Gun control. The absolute disregard, hatred of the idea of gun control in America. That baffles me. The NRA, the gun lobby,
Take my freedom.
It's the same issue as the It's the same issue as the oil and the fucking fossil fuels. There's too much money. There's too many people who profit off weapons being built and given to the people as just as much as there's enough people to profit off petrol going into your car to drive your car. There's too many people that will suffer financially for anyone to ever do anything about it, no matter how much the fucking Barack Obama would stand up there in tears and be like, I can't fucking do anything. He's like, I'm fucking trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Which it's that always said something to me about how much power the president of the
is
biggest
sweet fuck
country
all.
in the world can do, which is sweet fuck all. If you can't even if he couldn't do anything,
can't
I'm
even
just
make them
we're-
make tiny steps.
No.
We're fucked.
That's
It's funny because the gun control thing, that is absolutely crazy to me, and it has been becoming obviously more and more crazy, especially in the last few years, of course. But, not because I feel like it's the numbers are high, but it's just because we see so much more of it because of social media and stuff like that, and it's because we see so much of it now. I feel bad to the point where I read about a shooting so often now in America, and I'm just like, oh, just another one. I completely get that. It's like the Australian woman last week,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like it's not
That was
just
a
gun
police
control.
shooting. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not just gun control as in the fact that the idea of a civilian just walking around in countries that allow them just to carry machine guns on their back. That's batshit crazy to me because I'm like, why does anyone need that? But it is also, just the way the training and stuff over there. I don't understand the idea that a cop, and then they'd use an excuse he was probably scared.
Yeah.
A problem with
They
that too
startled
is,
him.
as opposed to here where it's state-based, each individual council has its own police force and its own budget and its own training standards. It's not regimentalized. It's all
Across, which it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should just be a training course, a lot higher one, obviously, especially for the police officers, as far as I say. Or maybe there already is a great one in specific places across America, because obviously this doesn't happen all over the place. But it's other places obviously have better training courses and stuff like that they need to put out across the country better. But anytime I see pictures on Facebook or something like that of someone just walking around with a gun belt on or something, or I was watching border control, one of those border control shows a week ago, and this guy was trying to go from America to Canada, and he had 3 fucking handguns in his camper van, and the woman's it was the most American laugh out loud, and we as Australians quite often laugh at we make jokes about Americans and guns. I don't think this is a secret. Got fucking my fucking. But this guy, she's why do you need 3 guns, sir? Why do you need 3 guns to come over to Canada? We don't actually allow guns in Canada.
changing gun is quicker than reloading.
Yeah, and his answer is he just said the most stereotypical answer. Which was,
Right.
he said, "I have 3 kids." And she goes, yeah, but why do you need 3 guns? He says, 1 gun to protect each kid.
Oh god.
What are you shooting one with your cock, motherfucker? What are you doing? And then he also had 3 or 4 fucking big Bowie knives and something. And he looked like the nerdiest, fat dude, sandals and everything. And I'm just Oh my fucking god! Like, why does this need? Why do you need 3 guns? Why do you need 1 gun?
Why is he
3
going into
guns?
Canada? That's why.
Why?
That's the intriguing part
You
of
go
that story.
shoot some fucking
God,
moose and some
fucking-
maple leaves.
The
Another
handgun?
problem why nothing changes is politicians these days. It's just a general thing, but that's a major thing that they care more about getting re-elected and having a job than actually trying to do something to better the country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And because a high percentage, it's like if you try and take away the guns, and that's
That's going to
piss off
affect you getting re-elected.
It's going to affect you getting re-elected. So
Yep.
no one wants to speak out against. No one will want to speak out against it, even if that's how
Yeah.
they feel about the situation.
There is a ban on doing research on gun violence in America. Let that
Is
sink
there
in.
really?
There's a congressional ban on the Center of Disease Control and Prevention from doing any research on gun control or gun violence, the link between gun violence
Wow.
That leads me into another thing. I can't believe the amount of Americans that are so for me and me alone that don't think that universal healthcare is a thing, should be a thing, or everyone having a living wage is a thing. Like, they'd rather sit in their own ivory tower, personal castle, and watch people live on the street than think about helping your fellow man.
I can follow that. I can't believe that there's still. Every time I third world countries and all that sort of stuff, and like how long we've been on the earth and stuff like that, and just like why haven't world leaders ever like got together and just like tried to fix this? Like
It's
why?
not profitable.
I know that's the answer to that's
the answer to
kind
most
of becoming
things.
the answer to everything, which literally everything we've talked about from the start of this episode about newspapers and everything through to now, the answer to it has been it's not profitable or it's
Yeah.
like about money, which everything's basically about money. But oh god, I can't even. It's the gun control thing. It's like one of the on that quick note, it's like one of the things that quite the happiest thing about living in Australia is like I wasn't a huge John Howard fan. I'm not a huge John Howard fan, but by God,
Yeah.
what a legend for just like making that decision there
Yeah.
and then based on that one event. So not based on that one event, but like just making having that event be the catalyst to finally like do something about it. Like looking at numbers. Looking and being like, shootings, people die, like that was a huge massacre that just happened. Do people really... No. Do all these people need such easy access to guns? Probably not. We'll just make them a bit harder to get. Sure. It's great.
And you can't have any automatic ones and
Yeah.
you need a lot, yeah.
Heaps of stuff that made sense. And I just... That's the thing that really confuses me about the American gun control thing is because no one's trying to take away old guns.
Yeah.
And I
There's no
think
way
a
they
lot of-
could.
there's no way they
Yeah.
could, and I think
there needs to be a middle, but
misunderstand-
the issue is that there's no middle ground. Is that
Yeah.
there's the solution is to not take away everyone's guns because one, it's going to be impossible because there's just too many of them, too many people, and that it's not illogical. But
And
the issue,
constitutionally, they're
yeah, and
allowed.
constitutionally as well, they can't do it. But the issue is that there's no middle ground. Is that the American government, Obama or whoever have been like before, they've been like, okay, we're not going to take your guns. Let's just put some like, what about let's like put some restrictions on who can buy a gun.
That's what.
No.
Yeah, that's the part that
let's
I don't
let's
get.
make it a little bit hard. Maybe you have to wait 48 hours. No. Maybe just a psych evaluation. No. 5-minute waiting period. No. Like it's like there's no
Maybe you don't
there's, like-
buy it in the back of a car. No.
Yeah. So
They
there's
view it
you
as
know,
all infringing their freedoms and their
yeah, exactly right. So and obviously that's sort of what the basis.
It
of
is
their
funny because
country
I
is
feel
built on.
like a lot of like Americans believe like Australia has 0 guns or something. Like they don't fully understand the laws we have here.
No.
It's like they think it's like from 0 to 100. Either there's guns or there's no
There's
guns.
no guns.
The idea of a middle ground where it's like there's guns, but they're just harder to get is just really weird. But
you don't have them just for the sake of having them. Like you need to have a reason.
but it
to
also
have
just makes so much sense to me, and I can't, like anytime this conversation is brought up, of course, especially in like an open forum or stuff that we've seen on like the Kind of Funny Facebook group, there's always the Americans being like, yeah, we just don't understand. Like I was brought up with guns, blah blah blah, all this sort of thing. I'm like, I mean, I get it. Like, obviously, we're
Why do you
brought
need
up really
50 of them?
I'm like, I understand. I kind of understand. Like, you brought up a lot different to me. Like, I haven't been brought up about it. But anytime I see a picture of someone with a gun, like, it scares me. The idea of going to one of these states in America where people just open carry them turns me off ever going from there, because I don't think I could comfortably walk around like that. I wouldn't want to. It would make me very, very fucking uncomfortable. I don't like guns. But it's just like, we're not asking you to get rid of all the guns. We're just asking you to make it harder for psychopaths not to get them. Is that okay, guys? Do you understand? Like, do you want to get there one day? I think they will get there eventually. I believe that it'll happen eventually, but...
You're dreaming, mate.
Yeah.
One thing, one last thing I sort of wanted to bring up that, so anti-vaxxers, and not so, and this is the thing, and this is why it's a sort of a weird one. Like, I am fully vaccinated. My son is fully vaccinated. My partner, she's fully vaccinated. We said to everyone, like, before our son was born, hey, obviously we're having a kid soon. If you want to come and visit him in the first 3 months of his life, go get yourself vaccinated. Don't want to hear from you, don't want to see you unless you've been vaccinated. All that. So we're very pro-vaccination and all that. And obviously there's people out there that are the opposite of that, and they're anti-vaccination. and it's one of those things, like, and this is, so it's hard to sort of comprehend how to say this, but like I get it. Like, I get the anti-vax thing. Because you're like, when you're a parent, right, you question everything that you do. You double think everything. Like, you're always second guessing yourself. And like, I remember being like I have and I wouldn't call him a friend anymore, but a guy I used to go to school with who I used to be really good friends with, who's like full anti-vaccination. But
why?
like,
I've never understood. Can you? I've never known someone. So like, can you tell me what his?
So like, the arguments are that they've got all of these, like, you know, all these extra things inside.
Yeah, that's literally just the go-to stereotypical argument?
I haven't finished. Like,
oh, I'm sorry.
You know, there's all the extra additives in it that it can cause autism, that they cause more diseases than they stop, that they can kill people, that they're harmful, that they've got this terrible mineral in them, they've got this in them, they've got like, it's, you know, the whole thing, that they cause, you know, mental development issues. Then there's never been any research to the contrary, I don't believe. You know, like, clearly, if you're a sensible human being, vaccination is the logical thing to do. Yeah. But
so, like, did this guy have kids, or was he just...
Yeah, no, he has a daughter, yep. So, but this is the thing, is that, like, I'm very pro-vaccination, and I'm anti-vaccination. But, like, I understand, if that makes sense. I understand that there's people out there that aren't. Because when you're a parent, like, I've gotten William vaccinated or whatever, and then he's been, like, sick the next week, and they're like, oh, you know, it can be a side effect of the vaccination, blah, blah, blah. And, like, you second guess yourself, and you'd be like, fuck, like, is that, like, I've just put, like, this chemical inside my son, and it's like, have I done damage? Like, you just don't know. Like, you're always second guessing yourself. And like I said, we're fully vaccinated and all that, but I get that. Like, I get how someone can be anti-vax. I don't like it, and I don't agree with it. And if you have a child and you don't vaccinate them, and you send them to somewhere where they can infect somebody else and get them sick, I think you're a fucking moron. And you might as well be fucking having a loading gun and giving your kid a loaded gun and go to school with it. But I get how some people can get there. In that, like, get there with that sort of mentally. Nick, you sort of... I heard you groaned when I mentioned anti-vaxxers. Obviously, you've got a pretty strong opinion on them.
If you're an anti-vaxxer, get out of my life. Do not come anywhere near me or my family.
Yeah, which is pretty much how I feel as well. But it's one of those weird ones where, like, I get it. Like, I don't agree with it.
I only get it from the, the deep-seated, like, caring for child, like, worry kind of factor. Yeah. I mean, I get that, but I feel like I just feel like being an adult, being a parent, like, that's
it's irresponsible as fuck.
I feel like you got to kind of overcome that fear of being like, oh, I'm like worried about my child, and just, you kind of just step up and you make the right decision. As far as I'm concerned, like, this is the case of a right decision. It's not like if, no, whatever you feel, there's a right decision.
Yeah.
And it's, so... Yeah, you're a fuckhead if you don't.
The fact that measles and smallpox is coming back
polio.
after being
polio.
extinct is infuriating.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt.
And there's all this scientific information out there that proves that vaccines work. They're not doing too much harm to anybody.
Yeah.
Do you know all the news stories you read randomly? It's like child dies could have been saved from vaccination. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
or something like
yeah,
that. It's
exactly,
like-
yeah. Whooping
Anytime
cough
you
and
read,
shit like that.
anytime you read one, it's like 6-month-old child, or what stuff. However old the child, it's like, really, you just feel fucking bad. Like,
Why do they
100%.
think these pharmaceutical companies are making them? Like, what do they have to benefit from them?
Or they think, well, this is when the tinfoil hat
Conspiracy
thing,
theory.
and this is where this guy that I know has gone he gets into the whole, well, they inject you with these things at a young age, which makes you get sick when you're older, which means that you need to take more drugs that the pharmaceutical companies
oh
make.
my
Yeah.
god!
So it's like a rabbit hole kind of fucking tinfoil hat.
I haven't-
sort of theory.
Because the medication isn't like a massively regulated industry that sort of thing would not happen.
Yeah. No, exactly.
The Explosion Network suggests you vaccinate your children.
Demands you vaccinate your children.
Demands you vaccinate.
I don't want
And
you as a
neuter your
listener if
pets
you're
and
any
animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that just about brings it to the end of the show. I will say one other thing I can't believe in is love
not
at first
butter?
sight.
Oh!
Love at first sight. That is not a thing. It never was
I've
a
got
thing.
I've got one more. I can't believe
Bullshit.
more people aren't subscribed to our podcasts.
Really? If people want to prove you wrong and subscribe to the podcast, where would they go?
YouTube.bit.ly/Explosion Network.
Ashley, you're wrong about for love at first sight, by the way.
Yeah?
I believe that it's a thing. Yeah.
You believe it's a thing?
I believe it's a thing. For sure.
Do you believe it? Are you saying it because you loved your son at first sight?
No, but that's that I.
Oh,
but I
you did love your son.
No, I did, but it's not because of that. No,
Totally.
I believe that love. I believe. My dad always used to say, like, tell the story of when he first saw my mum and like he fell in love with her at first sight. So I believe that it's something that can happen.
Was that love or was it attraction?
Love or lust?
He went in. So I'll tell you the story quickly. He, mum,
Take your time.
Dad was working in his work that he worked at. Mum came in for like a job interview or whatever. He saw her. And was like, he always says, like, fell in love as soon as I saw her. She went in, had her job interview. She walked out and left. He ran into the boss's office and begged him to hire her. He's like, hire her. You have to hire her, please. I'm in love. And so I believe in it.
I feel like love, lust, and all that could be a very good
6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
separate.
Yeah, I think we'll come
topic.
back to
smash.
this at some point.
We'll come to that. It would
Come
smash.
back
10 out of 10 would bang. Yeah.
All right. Jack, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at anti-vaxers.net and no, you can find me at anti-vaxers.net. No, Cruzy_mate on Twitter and Cruzy_mate on YouTube.
And Jack, you've also got a special guest on this week's Grandstand Gurus, which you can find at
Yes.
explosionnetwork.com.
Yes, absolutely we do. So we have the IWA heavyweight champion, Alex Titan, joining us for a very special episode of Grandstand Gurus. So if you do have any questions you want to shoot at Alex, wrestling related or otherwise, please send them through to gurus@explosionnetwork.com. Flick us an email or shoot us a tweet at ExplosionPod. We'd also like to hear from you there.
Nick, where can people find you on the internet?
People can find me on the edge of the world pushing anti-vaxxers off. So if you're an anti-vaxxer, tweet me at Lord M. Pryor. So Lord M. Pryor, PRIOR, so I can organise your push time.
and Nick, so he knows who to block. Dylan, where can people find you?
You can find me at Viva Ladil, VIVALADIL, and if anything I said about religion or God offended you, you can pray to God and tell him to do something about it, and fucking nothing will happen. Got him!
All right, you can find me on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEY, if you've got any complaints about this episode, which I'm sure
there will
somebody
be.
will.
Goddamn, there will
I'm
be.
You
the
can,
leader of the complaints department, so let me know.
Yep, you can email us at don't@explosionnetwork.com. That is a thing.
I'm sure we've got an email for that, though. I'm sure there is an email.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we got Tom to set that up. I think that just about covers it. So
Send them to Bevan at explosionnetwork.com. He'll deal with all the concerns and questions.
You should also follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/Explosion Network. We're doing all sorts of awesome content during the week. Dylan's going to be playing something. Red Dead, isn't it, this week?
Yep, playing Red Dead tomorrow.
To
Team
date,
of
this
first
episode.
time.
3
First,
p.m.
oh, geez. And we've got community nights generally on Thursday nights from about 6:30. But follow us on all our social medias to keep on track of that.
At
And-
Explosion Pod.
At Explosion Pod. So that just about wraps it up. Has anybody got any last words they want to say on anything?
Rate and review us on iTunes.
Oh, yes, please. Yes, please.
And
For
please
God's
tell
sake.
all your friends about us.
And your mums.
Yep. Jack would
Especially
smash.
your mums.
Have a good
Especially
day.
Jack will
Bye.
value your mums.
Morning. Whatever.
Inaudible outro saying...
We usually
Fading
just
out.
babble some
Words.
shit, and then it fades
We-
out while we're talking.
we need to
shit.
think about an outro for this show.
Do something with that, Ash. You're editing it.
You know the flat Earth is on the back of a giant turtle, right? Flying through space.
That does make sense. All right.